Ross Beatty's Equinox Gold is down 20% this morning, and the market's only been open for about an hour. If you're like me and hold a big chunk of Equinox Gold stock, hey, this morning is no fun. What the heck is going on? They just reported third quarter results. We're going to talk about that, but more importantly, we're going to talk about why this happened and what could happen in the future. I've got some very interesting information and insights for you. Hey, it's been a real drag owning this stock. It was as high as $9 per share within the last 52 weeks. This morning, it's trading at $2.50. I have an acronym we're going to start with to describe exactly what has happened to now. Let's get started. I want to tell you, I apologize for my previous videos about Equinox Gold. Look, I always say I don't have a crystal ball. Don't make any financial decisions based upon the information that I share with you. But even when Equinox was at $8 a share, I was very optimistic about the company. And at that time, given the conditions that were in place and the information available, I believe it was a good, smart investment at that time. But we know how that worked out. Every $8 that anyone would have put into Equinox would now today be worth about $2.50. So trust me, I'm feeling pain. I would have even put some of my parents' money into Equinox. Thankfully, I didn't. Now, what happened in the third quarter? It was just a really poor performance by the company. They did generate a little bit of cash flow. They did generate a little bit of EBITDA, but their all-in sustaining costs continue to be super high, over $1,700 an ounce, and their production numbers are coming in a little lower than expectations. That combined with some other factors just created a really poor performance by the company in the third quarter. Now, I want to talk to you about why this happened over the last year. I have an acronym, PIE, P-I-E. We're going to cover that right now. Before we eat a little Equinox turd pie, I just want to tell you thank you for joining me in Ron's Basement. You're always welcome here. Good days, bad days, I'm always here, and I appreciate and honor the fact that you've decided to join me here in the basement. It's you and me right now. You're somewhere in the world, you're with me in the basement, and we are part of a much larger group. If you enjoy my content, get anything out of it, you could do me a big favor and subscribe right here. Now let's talk about what caused this turd pie for the last year for Equinox Gold. The P in pie stands for precious metals. Equinox, like all the mining companies, have had to endure a year, year and a half of continuing decreases in the price of, in Equinox's case, gold, but also silver. That has cast a dark shadow over the entire mining industry. Sentiment is way down. Part of the reason, and just part, is because of the precious metals prices. Now, let's go to I. I stands for inflation. While the precious metals prices were coming down, Equinox's costs were going up significantly because of inflation. Now, we can't do anything or expect them to do anything about precious metals prices. That is completely out of their control. But don't you think it's the company's responsibility to manage inflation the best they can? I don't know what steps they have in place, but hopefully going forward, they're going to work to reduce cost and deal with this high inflation environment. I do put a part of the responsibility, there's Pippy the cat, part of the responsibility on the company to manage inflation. Hey, we're going to get to the E in the PIE acronym, but first, Pippy the cat wanted to say she still believes in Equinox. Isn't that right, Pippy? Pippy, do you still believe in Equinox? Well, all right, guys, the E stands for execution. And in that area, I have to say there's great room for improvement at Equinox. I don't think they've done the best job over the last year in executing on production, mine builds, other factors within the company. I'm not giving them a complete fail. They got a lot going on, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But those are the three factors that have killed the stock. Do you think Equinox can turn it around? I do. Now, we have a new CEO, a gentleman named Greg Smith. I have to admit, for the last 3 years, I was following Greg closely. He was the president of Equinox, and when Christian Mielau left, and Christian was fine, didn't have any problems with him. I don't know what you thought of Christian, but when he left and Greg got moved into the CEO role, I was very, very happy. He's only been CEO for 3 months. They've got a lot on their plate, right? A lot of moving pieces. They've got mines in Brazil, Mexico. They're building a massive mine up in Canada. They've got a big potential operation in California as well. They have a full plate as they're building mines and continuing to develop and expand current mines that they have. This is how I look at it. I look at Greg Smith like a kid whose parents set him down at a table and opened up 4 Lego boxes, right? Greg's got enough on his plate, and he knows what he needs to do to build each 4 of those operations into efficient and profitable operation. I don't know how you feel, but I believe in Greg Smith. Not to mention the fact that he has Ross Beatty, chairman and founder and major investor in this company, looking over his shoulder like a wise grandparent, willing to give help and advice whenever necessary. So let's give Greg Smith a chance. Greg, keep your chin up and your head down and get the work done. Everything will be okay. And if we have an environment, which seems hard for us to believe, right, where the price of the metals would actually go up and cooperate a little bit, maybe inflation moderates somewhat, you improve the operations, we could see some bright, sunny skies for Equinox. Now, what's astounding about the company, and we'll wrap up with this, before I do that, though, I want to mention, if you enjoy the content and want to get notified every time I put out a new video, because you don't want to miss this. I mean, the cat shows up, sometimes the bear dances. Find the bell. Somewhere on your screen, there's a little bell icon. It's like a treasure chest, treasure hunt, whatever. Find the bell, press the bell. That way you'll get notified every time I put out a new video. Now, the final thing I want to touch on about Equinox, which is astounding, is this fact. Right now, at the current stock price, the company has a market value of $750 million. They have assets of $3.7 billion, and their total liabilities come in at $1.4 billion. That means they have assets after you pay off all their debt. They have net assets of $2.3 billion, 3 times higher than the market cap of the company. That basically means that for every 30 cents that somebody puts into the company today, they're getting almost $1 of assets. And again, that's after all the debt is taken out. It is just a crazy market right now. Look, it was a rough quarter for Equinox. It was rough for us investors. Remember, Ross Beatty has a ton of his own money invested in this company, like a ton. I think he owns 8 or 9% of the company. Also, it's been publicly stated many times that the CEO and other senior managers also have a big portion of their personal net worths invested in the company. So we're not alone in our pain. I believe these guys are working hard. I heard it once said about Ross Beatty that he walks around throwing around nickels like they're sewer lids, meaning he's a very resourceful, frugal, smart guy. They're going to figure out a way to make this work. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.